do something like black and white to represent the past of the book. Or, to represent something that was mythical, you could wear a costume, or, in fact, dress up as the subject of your book or biography. Or finally, to start or end your book talk, you could use a storyline. From anything from being like you're being followed like the character in your book or the biography or something like that. It's 1885, and John D. Rockefeller has said the quote of the century. Never be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. In this book talk, I'll be talking about the book, The Tycoons, How Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, J. Gould, and J.P. Morgan Invented the American Super Economy by Charles R. Morris. Publication date is 2005. Finally, we're back from the flashback. So, I'll just explain who the subject of my book talk is going to be and why I picked him. As the title suggests, there are 4 people discussed in the book. Out of the 4 people, I will pick John D. Rockefeller. Now, why I chose to read about these 4 people is because I watched a show. And the show is called The Men Who Created America. And I loved the show, as it showed the businessmen as the cool, smart kids, or smart people, while instead of showing the businessman like the greedy, sly guy trying to earn every single cent. So now you might be wondering, why did I pick John D. Rockefeller out of these 4 people? I picked John D. Rockefeller because not only did he started as out of a poor family, he also built the biggest empire out of these 4. Currently, he has 3 times the net worth of Elon Musk, the world's richest man currently alive. So, now, since this book was a biography, let's talk about why the biographer wrote about these 4 businessmen. The biographer wrote about these 4 people to explain how they created the American economy and how it helped shape the America we know currently. Now we talked a little bit about the book, let's talk about the person. John D. Rockefeller was born on July 8th, in 1893 in Richford, New York. John was mostly a sad person, yet hardworking. He had a simple life with his wife, as they married young, so he was close with his wife and children. And he was mostly honest and reliable. In education, he had better education than most people, as he completed high school and some commercial courses. He became a assistant bookkeeper at age 16, and then after that went into several business partnerships at the beginning of age 20, concentrating mostly on the oil refining business. Rockefeller founded Standard Oil in 1870. It made him rich, and after that, media mostly recorded many traits that Rockefeller showed, including perseverance, leadership, courage, benevolence towards others, honesty, and balance in priorities. To his fame, Rockefeller created a Standard Oil Company, which was the monopoly of the oil industry for many years. And later, he turned his life to charity, which he donated almost $500 million to the business. Now, also, in history, modern history America, Rockefeller was the richest man. He had 2 times Elon Musk's current net worth, which is $178 billion, while Rockefeller had $418 billion. So that's way much more. After that, I'll tell you 2 quick stories of John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller missed a train, which later goes into a train accident called the Angular Horror. In that, the last 2 cars crash and the inside passengers die, unfortunately. Since Rockefeller was rushing late, He would have been on the last two cars and he would have died also. This had a profound impact on him, and ever since he has been more into religion. After that, there is also his religious, that was about the religious ethic. Let's talk about his determination. Vanderbilt decided to stop Rockefeller in his tracks of becoming powerful. Vanderbilt is the owner of the train industry, or the monopoly in the train industry. He he increased the price of transporting his oil so much that it would be a loss to transport. Instead of giving up, Rockefeller decided to buy Pipes Line United and decided to transport his oil through pipes that would run city to city. With this, Rockefeller gained more profit as the transporting cost was gone, and he never gave up. He died he died on May 23rd, 1937, less than 2 months shy of his 98th birthday, at his home in Ormond Beach, Florida. What makes him so memorable is that he created, because of his role in refining oil, America's growth increased than most any European country. Some say Rockefeller had the contributions according to like as much as a founding father. But you might say that was just him being rich. You could also say that he made the founding of University of Chicago possible and donated many fund to many charitable funds and churches. All right, so this is the life map of John D. Rockefeller. It quickly shows all the events that happened in his life. Like in 1839, he was born. 1835, he had his education. 1864, he married. 1870, he created his company. 1872, he bids for control of his company. In 1873, his sales go up like crazy. In 1875, he buys Pipelines United and sends oil through a system of pipes. 1902, he becomes the world's most powerful and influential person. 1835 to 1919 is when he donates $500 million to various educational, religious, and scientific reasons. Finally, 1937, we have him dying at Ormond Beach, Florida. Now we talked about uh, his life map, let's talk about a few problems he had and a few questions. So, a serious conflict is here. I'll give you a direct quote. The problem was clerks. Morris had brought his two brothers into the business as buyers and salesmen. One of them, James, was an ex prize fighter, a bully, clashed with Rockefeller almost from the start. Worse, Rockefeller didn't trust him. James liked to make exciting, risky deals, padding his expense claims, bragged about cheating his customers. So he's awfully a bad man. Rockefeller wanted him out, but Maurice has half the percent, so he can't just kick him out. So they weren't very shocked when he had settled for a auction for the ownership of the refinery, and they were coolly outbid by 72500 or $72,500 as well. And this Maurice felt this was too much, especially in the old days. And after that, nearly he gave all the money that he earned from that back. And after that, it reached $1 million, easily returning the purchase price. So that is a great example of the quote that I have stated in the beginning, how he gives up everything to believe that he can get the great. The next, something else that you can learn from him is experiences. So I'll give you another quote. John Grier in Baltimore, Ohio, undertook to organize his own local refinery interest opposite of Pennsylvania Railroad and Standard. He forged an alliance with Camden Refineries, the largest local players, elaborate anti-standard plans without knowing that Camden has long become Standard property. Then there were, so it shows that secrecy only comes if you're silent. If Rockefeller had shouted that he has bought Camden, a lot of people would have found other ways to conspire against him. But he kept it secret. And another way is that you should always predict your next move. Rockefeller knew that most people would conspire with Camden, so he bought it. It is brilliant, actually. But yeah, he knew that a lot of people would take this large local player to get off local ground and try to compete against Standard, but he stopped all of that by just taking Camden into his property. So finally, we have the conclusion of the book talk. I felt about the book talk that it talks about four different people, so it mostly talks about the business of them, not their life and all of that. So, and plus, it's a little hard to read. So this would be mostly good for people in college or high school or something like that, not for grades like us. Plus, it's super long. So I did learn about his business techniques, including the dirty ones of John D. Rockefeller, and I wouldn't recommend unless they are